All right then, so now what we are going to do is we are going to create something like just over here. See, something like this. It's going to have some smooth transition effects, and it's going to have without, like, what I'm trying to say here is, so using the absolute positions and all the transition effects by using the CSS, we can achieve this quite easier. But the most important thing you need to understand over here is the wireframing, how exactly they just wireframed it and how they are achieve this components over here. So let's go ahead and do that right now. Okay, so in order to do that, all we have to do is to get back to the index.html, and all I have to do is to minimize this, minimize. Right after here, I'm just going to bring the card 4 and div h2 with the profile card 4, then dot card 4. All right, so now if you check it out over here, so it's having this as a container layout, right? So you can see it's wrapped in this particular entire, all these 3 cards are being wrapped in a single thing. So I'm just going to show you how to create only one card from here, and you just copy the paste, and 3 times you can keep it for just like that. You can keep n number of cards as much you want. Okay, so if you have a look at this card, basically this card's having 2 different faces. This is the overview which you are seeing right now. That's the face 1, and if I move my cursor inside, it's going to display the face 2, right? So it's having 2 different faces, so 2 different divisions. So keeping in that mind, we need to say face 1 and face 2, something like that, right? So let's create a division, dot face 1, something like this. That's the division 1. Then dot face and dot face 2, that's the second division. And inside this we are going to have the content. Okay, and inside that content I'm going to bring the icon, and inside that I'm going to bring the icon, which is nothing but let's keep this icon. Okay, then on the face 2, just like the same way, I'm going to bring this content again, dot content, and inside this content again, if you wish to bring an icon also, you can keep that. Otherwise you can bring the text. I'm going to say Adam or something like this, and I'm going to say paragraph lorem ipsum, and I'm just going to delete some of that contents, not this much. I just keep until this much. Perfect. Now if you scroll all the way to the bottom, you should be able to see only this. Okay, but I don't quite get it because, okay, so the icon over here, it's using let me use this Twitter icon. Copy this. The package what I'm using for this icon is quite wrong. That's the reason it's not showing that. Okay, so here we go. So I can see the icon right now. Perfect, right? So this is all about for which we needed for this particular wireframe. Okay, so nothing else which is needed. So let's jump into this CSS now. So over here, just write after here. Okay, so this is the place where we need to start writing the styles for it. So inside this CSS file, so all we have to do is to so let's start writing. So card 4 dot card 4. First we need to mark the position as a relative position, then only we can switch between the face 1 and face 2, something like that, right? Then I'm gonna say border radius as 10 pixels. I need that border radius. Okay, so now all we have to do is to target those icon section which is inside. So let's target those icon sections, copy that icon, and inside the card 4 I do have this dot icon section. So for that I'm going to make this position as an absolute position, and top 0 left 0, which means it should exactly start from the top and left corner, and width should be 100%, and height should be 100%. And then for the background color for the first one, I'm just going to see hash f. Let me keep this color. All right. Then I'm going to say transition 0.7 seconds, and the z index should be top of the layer. So basically we are arranging it in a layer structure, and this should be on the top of it. Okay. Perfect. So then now what we have to do is, so we fixed the background colors and all these things. So now if you check it out, this is how it looks, right? This is how it looks, nothing else in it. Okay. And I need to make sure this is taking the 100% height of it. So we need to adjust the height and everything. So what we have to do is, okay, so you might wonder why it is looking something like, what about the height and width over here? So we directly focused the icon which is inside the face. So we have to finish the styles for the face first, right? So what I'm going to do is, right, so let's say dot face, and in the same line we do have the face 1 as well as dot face 1. Okay, so icon is basically inside the face 1, so you should target that one also. Don't leave the space here, because face and face 1 are in the same element, not inside, not in a sub element of the element 1, right? So still you should see the same styles right now. All right, so now all we have to do is to focus on the styles for the face. So right after here, dot card 4 space dot face, open it. So I'm going to fix the width. So basically width, I'm going to fix it as 375 pixels width, and height I'm going to keep it as 275 pixels. So this is how it looks like. Okay, so don't worry about that. Even though I fixed the height as 275 pixels, it is expanding it because of the content underneath it. Okay, so we will fix that one. So you will in a little bit time, or even let's say if I say 200 pixel, you can see still it's expanding it in that specific way only. So don't worry about this. I'm going to fix it as 250, and then I'm going to say transition, and I'm going to say 0.5 seconds, something like this. All right, so then all I have to do is to target the face 1 which is inside the face. So dot card 4 dot face 1, open it, which is of course is going to use the position as the relative position. All right, now you can see this exactly taking that 250 pixels of height. Okay, previously we make this as a position relative. That's the reason icon absolute position is marking the entire card as its parents, but for icon face is the parent element, so that's the reason it needs to be pointed out. So that's why we mentioned as a position as a relative, right? So then what I need to do is I'm gonna change the background color. So let's say background color hash 333. Okay, so then I'm gonna say display as a flex, justify content in the center, and align items in the center, and z index which is going to be 1. Then translate y into 100 pixels. So save it. So this is how it looks like. Okay, so this is how it looks like. And if you check it out, the icon on the top of its layer, this is the icon, but the icon nothing is displaying in the exact in the center position. So display flex, align items center, and justify the content in the center. So now the icon should be in the center. And now inside the icon division, I do have this I tag. I can focus on that. So I'm going to say font size is going to be 2.5 eminent points. That's how the icon should looks like. Or you can say 5 eminent points. I think that is way much better now. Then I'm going to save color as color, which is going to be hash triple F, which is looks quite exactly like this. Okay, and for this I'm just going to say border radius Oops. Border radius as 6 pixels. Save it. So, and why it is not coming? Let me add border radius over here. 6 pixels. There we go. Now you should be able to see that one. Okay. All right. So in this case, I'm just going to ignore the border radius. So I don't need the border radius at anywhere. But if you wish to keep that border radius, you should focus on that border radius at some point wherever you needed it. All right. Then what I need to do is when I'm hovering this card, when I'm hover this particular card, what I need to do is I need to remove that translate position. So what I'm going to do is card 4 dot card. So basically for the card 4, what we need to do is we need to add this hover event, hover dot face 1, open it. I'm gonna change the background color a little bit. For the time being, I'm gonna change it to red, and then translate into 0 pixels. Save it. Now if I'm hovering it, this is how it looks. Okay. And if you wish to change this entire background color of this, you can do this in the exact same way. Copy this, paste it. Instead of this translate, what you can do is you can give that icon over here, dot icon. Save it. Now if you hover it, you should be able to see the color changes over there, just like that. Okay, so you can just play around with that options. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy this and I'm going to give it over here. Then I'm going to change this to a little bit darker color, something like this. And I don't need this background color over here. Delete it. And that's how it looks. Perfect, right? So now we do have that. And all I have to do is to bring this content. I need to align this content as well as in a perfect way. So what I need to do is let's go and target the page 2 now. So right after here, dot card 4 dot face 2. Oops. Dot card 4 dot face 2, open it, which is going to be position as a relative position, and the background color, of course, which is going to be pure white color, and display, of course, it's going to be flux. Justify content in the center and align items in the center, and padding, of course, I'm gonna give it 20 pixel, and box sizing, of course, it's going to be the border box. Anyways, I already mentioned it on the top itself. So box shadow, which is going to be 0 pixels, 20 pixels, 50 pixels, RGBA 0.8. Save it. That's how it looks. Okay, but we need to fix this, don't worry about it. And then what I need to do is transform translate y, which is going to be minus 100 pixels. Okay, something like this. I think yeah, for the time being, let's keep it in that way. Later we need to fix it. And dot card 4 dot hover dot face dot 2, which is going to be transform translate y, which is going to be 0. Save it. All right, so then all I have to do is to start writing the styles for this the reason why we are getting this white area, okay, this is supposed to be minus 150 pixels. Yep, now it is completely begin. This is just the trial and error only. You should be adjusting. If you're increasing the height over here for this, if you're increasing the height, then you just need to adjust to the translate positions over here, right? So this is how it looks. Okay, so now let's focus on this content. Okay, so what we have to do is, so right after here, dot card 4, for that we need to write the phase 2 content. So what I need to do is dot phase 2 dot content, open it. So let's say text, align everything in the center, and now we should be able to see the entire text content is in the center. Okay, then if you wish to add much more styles for this particular the text and everything, you can just play around with this text also, but this is the entire animation stuff. You should be able to see that. See, all right, so this is all about how you can play around with these transitions and the positions. The most important thing, you just need to understand the positions over here. If you don't understand the positions, then it's quite complicated. All right, so that's the most important thing. Okay, so now we successfully finished it. Now all I have to do is to push this into the git. So what I have to do is just, let's get back to, let me copy, get back over here, and let me duplicate duplicate this one, and let's rename this. No worries about rename, because anyways we are going to group it. So just cut it from here. Oops. Cut this and paste it. Keep it over here. Then expand this. Cut this now from here and paste it here like this. So then all we have to do is to group this. I think I need to delete this and I need to get it one more time. Okay, so now I need to group all these. Yep, all these things are highlighted, and then group them together. Then you can export them, export it. Then if you open it, you should be able to see this image now. All right, so now I have that image. Let me get back to the snap, drop it inside here, and rename this as card4. Close this, get to the readme file, copy this, paste it, change this to card4, and then change this to card4. Save it. All right, now let me get back to here and changes project 4 completed. Click commit, click here, pull or push to origin. Now that is pushed successfully. Click over here and click here. There we go. So we have all the 4 projects over here. Perfect. And now let's go on and start working on the next project.